Good morning, dear students. In the last lecture, we have studied about the equilibrium, conditions of equilibrium and couple. In this lecture, we will study about principle of movements. Principles of movements. Firstly, we should know what is the movement. What is the movement? Then we will discuss about principle of movements. Okay, in order to attain rotational equilibrium, we can illustrate the rotational equilibrium with the example of simple beam. This is the simple beam and this is the lever balance. This beam is rotated about this point. This point is known as pivot and center of gravity. This beam is rotated about this point and there will be rotational equilibrium if the product of W1 and L1 is equal to the product of W2 and L2. What are the W1, W2, L1 and L2? Basically, W is the weight. Here are two weights, W1 and W2. L represents the distance of weight from the pivot and from the center of gravity. L1 is the distance of W1 from the center of gravity and L2 is the distance of weight from the center of gravity. And the condition for equilibrium, the condition for rotational equilibrium is that the product of weight and length, the product of weight and the perpendicular distance between the fulcrum and the line of action of force is equal to the product of weight W2 and L2. This is the condition for rotational equilibrium. What is this? This is the new physical quantity which is the product of weight, or we can say that force, product of force and the perpendicular distance. This is the perpendicular distance between the fulcrum and the line of action. This new physical quantity is known as moment of force. This physical quantity is known as moment of force. What is the moment of force? Moment of force is the multiplication product of what? Force. W1 is here weight, which is also known as force. Okay, force and the perpendicular distance between fulcrum and the line of action of a force. Okay, this is the definition of moment of a force. Now, what is the principle of movements? According to the principle of movements, the sum of clockwise movements equal to the sum of anti-clockwise movement. This is the definition of principle of movements. Okay, now we will illustrate the principle of movements with the examples. First example which verifies the principle of movement is that here is the meter scale. Which is suspended by two springs S1 and S2, and on this meter scale there are two weights are hanged from the meter scale, and W represents the weight. Okay, weight of a meter scale is represented by W, and C is the center of gravity. Center of gravity is that point at which all the mass of meter scale is considered to be concentrated. Okay, here W is the weight of meter scale and C is the center of gravity. W1 is hanged from point B and W2 is another weight which is hanged from point D, and this meter scale is suspended by two springs S1 and S2. It is seen that sum of upward forces equal to the sum of downward forces. What are the upward forces? Here are two upward forces, F1 and F2. If we add these two forces, F1 plus F2, the sum of both these two upward forces will be equal to the sum of downward forces. What are the downward forces? W1, W, W2. It is experimentally seen that in this case the sum of upward forces will be equal to the sum of downward forces. This is the verification of a principle of movements. The another verification can be illustrated with the example, this example. Okay, in this example, here C is the center of gravity again, and W is the weight, and F1 and F2 are upward direction. Here are two weights, W1 and W2. Okay, it is clear from the diagram that the turning effect of F2 is along the anti-clockwise direction. Also, the turning effect of weight W1 is along the anti-clockwise direction, and the turning effect of F1 and W2 along the clockwise direction. What will be the movement of this force? The movement of this force will be 0, because in order to calculate movement, we simply multiply that force with the perpendicular distance of that force from the center of gravity, and W1 is acts at the center of gravity. The perpendicular distance in this case will be 0, so movement of this force will be 0. Okay, now it can be seen that the movement of force F2. What will be the movement of force F2? Movement can be calculated by multiplying that force with the perpendicular distance of that force from the center of gravity. What is the perpendicular distance? Here F2 and perpendicular distance is CE. Okay, since F2 is the turning force which rotates this apparatus along the anti-clockwise direction, so here we write the movement of a force F2. In similar manner, we can write the movement of force W1. What is the perpendicular distance of W1 from the center of gravity? CB. So here we multiply W1 with the CB. Okay, on the left hand side there are movement of forces which have turning effect along the anti-clockwise direction. On the right hand side we will write the forces which have turning effect along the clockwise direction. Write the movement of force F1. What will be the movement of force F1? Multiply the F1 with the perpendicular distance, its perpendicular distance from the center of